I don't have much time today. So, I started early. I'm surprised that I started early. I was definitely not biding my time looking up different types of wood to use to create a door frame. Definitely wasn't doing that. I definitely also didn't wake up at 2 p.m. today, even though I thought I could be able to wake up earlier. Look at that. Today's a different day. But no. Started earlier today because I'm actually gonna be going outside. There's a window over here. If you, yeah. Um, I'm gonna watch a movie with people and interact and be outside, and it kind of mildly screws with my schedule. So that's why I'm going on now. Because I said I would be here today, and I like, at least for myself, I need to be here because my understanding of how my body works with schedules is if I just do the things that I need to do, make me happy, that progress me in certain ways, that my schedule will my body will kind of like make myself conform to waking up at a certain time or doing things at a different time to make everything fit in. That's why I'm here right now. I only have until like right around 6 Central Time. So only have like an hour and maybe an hour and 20 minutes. And if you've seen this before, the sketch usually lasts like an hour and a half, like the first sketch at least. But I was doing snowboard bindings, so I could just do like the bindings, not like the board, just kind of look up. Here, I think actually I spent where is it? Oh, I spent 3 hours last night, between midnight and 3 a.m. Compiling a master list of materials and processes from an old list that I had, for in my college days that we had to do for a class that I just recently discovered when I was looking up new stuff, stuff that I should probably know for any design. But the old list that I had was confusing because it was meant for college presentation. So I'm simplifying the old list into a new list. This old list is like 200 pages long, and like 1 page is a material, and then 1 page is a process. So like, it's long. I got through maybe a sixth of it. Ooh, you know what I should do? Uh, part of the reason why it took so much time is that the fonts between the different pages are different. I should just make all of the original 200-page long material list. I should make that the same font so I don't have to deal with that. There we go. Look at that. Solved the problem already. Anyways, I gotta look up snowboard bindings. God. I should know better to make things myself, because if I do, it shakes to shit. Alright. I think, yeah, I kind of want to go for like something like this, but I kind of want to have it like a bigger image, or like a wider image. Maybe this and then this. They're not the same binding, but I just need the general shape. So I'll sketch out this and this. I'm not going to do like the lines stuff, because I'm just going to be... I kind of want to do more like storyboarding with the commercial that I want to make. But I also need to satisfy my creative side. Well, a commercial is creative, but like I need to satisfy like my design side. give it something to mull over. Yeah, I only have like not too much time right now, so I think maybe I'll just do one, but I'll save the other one for later. Which one should I do first? Yeah, like, oh, sorry. Kind of, I don't know why I did that. I gotta save both of them, but which one? Which one? Which one? Which one? I don't want to do that one, but I'll save both. Snow bindings rear, and then this one, snow bindings. Yeah, front, I guess. Okay. I think I'll do both of these sketches in pencil because, as I have learned, I do not like pen for these sketches sometimes. I think for mostly like the something where I'm still trying to figure it out, it's probably not a good idea to do a pen. But if I'm just gonna make like something real quick and just like throw it away, when I mean something real quick, like, you know, a box or a line, like something very simple, not like a product. Or yeah, it's better to do those with pen. Hold on, let me pull up the right reference. Okay. We're going with the wood one. Okay. Ta-da! I keep forgetting I need to resize it. Okay. So this has all the storyboarding preliminary stuff. I actually need to add a couple of things to that, but yeah, fuck it. Oh. So the idea with sketching out this binding is I want to get my like subconscious almost thinking about how to do this rear area, because this rear pencil, and I need a guide. There's the idea of this rear area is to like to protect the heel of the boot, because that will have a function, and you don't want to press it accidentally. And so it'll just be like a kind of shortened cutoff thing. Okay, I gotta look up before I do this. What is the purpose of what is the purpose of the snowboard boots? So parts. Usually if you get like a parts list or something, it's like, oh, this is what each of these parts. Ah, great. Trying to figure out what that like. Oh, you can't see. Look at this. Trying to figure out what this like back is for, like why it's not incorporated into the boot. Like if you need a stable thing to lean back on, or what I'm thinking is that you obviously need to be able to contact that back area to push the board out so you can do a heel slide. But if the bindings themselves were solid enough on the foot, that backing plate wouldn't be necessary. So my understanding is that the actual bindings are good for getting you clamped down to the board, but it doesn't prevent any lateral movement. Or it prevents minimal lateral movement, so you'll still shift a little bit if you don't have that piece back there. But I want to make sure, because if that's true, then I gotta make sure that my bindings are able to secure you well enough. Or maybe it's the fact that just maybe like snowboard parts explained. That is a ski. Oh wow, okay. So there's split baseless. Ah, okay. So traditional bindings keep the board from flexing all the way. If I used magnets, I don't think I could have a flex that hard though. Unless I use something that's split and the magnets are like put on either side. Kind of like how this does. There'd be like a magnet here and a magnet there. But it'd still shift, which means, yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna... Ooh, ooh. I can't see... Okay. You get to see my levels, I guess. Look at that. And goodbye. Alright. Ooh. Composite. Oh, yeah. Steel edge, of course. Oh, it's fiberglass. That makes sense. Oh, there's a wood core. That's more interesting. I don't understand, and I want to understand, and I still don't. Snowboard construction? Okay. Shapes explained. Rules. Snowboarding rules explained. There's rules to life. Oh, it's talking about all the different, like, rules to, like, team sports, like, or, like, you know, basketball or tennis or something like that. I'm looking for why is it built the way that it's built? Directional boards are pointed like this one. Sorry, I'm looking around my camera. I guess I'll look from over here. Truths, man. That's probably what I would make mine. But this is just talking about boards. I need bindings. No. Buyer's guide, sure. Advice? No. Maybe news. Oh. Okay, bindings. Maybe like snowboard bindings explained. This is peculiar. Well, I guess I am always kind of like a special case. I don't think that most people aren't designers, product designers, and they don't try to figure out why certain things existed before, so that they can make them better, which is a weird thing. I feel like most people be like, I don't know, it's just like such a part of my life to question everything. So when it's a step in. It's such a big thing to question everything for me. So when I like interact with people who don't question things, like especially like parts of our society that are just like every single time I interact with it, it's just like, why am I doing this? What the hell? but I'm like, and I raise the question. People are like, because it's part of society, and they're just like so set into like the explanation that they have no need to question it. I need to find more people that just question reality. I feel like I'd get along with them so well. Not the loonies necessarily. Maybe like the not the people who are like, why do we even have laws and exist and have our we're just particles that are bound together very closely that make our, you know, general understanding of the world. No, not those people. More of like a why, I don't know. Why do we just accept things the way that they are for a lot of things in life? Like even I'm questioning why a snowboard is built the way that it is. Um, that is really interesting. That's a cool binding. That's so cool. Anyways, um, yeah, what was I saying? Ooh, snowboard binding explained. Realistically, this was all just a ruse to keep my brain active while I was searching for the truth. Okay. Snowboard bindings by riding style. So it's called a high back plate. What is the... So now that I know the name of the part. Purpose of snowboard high back plate. Okay, that seems like enough. To assist heel side turns and to increase support and control. That is the purpose. I can't highlight it. That's annoying. That is the purpose of the high back. Short high backs are good for freestyle riders. So, I guess right now, okay, tall high back is for all mountain or free riding. Extra control during high speed or sharp turns with more the forward lean. That didn't seem like the right sentence or the right structure. Okay. Flappy section that folds up and down. I love that phrase. Yes, that is what a high back is. Okay, so great, figured it out. So that I guess Oh, when it means less lean, oh, it pushes your. You can set it up so it pushes your foot forward at all times. That's interesting. So a forward lean is for aggressive riders, gives you a faster edge to edge response. So this my theory of how it works is kind of true. Is that it's a solid contact point that you can position the rear of your foot and I guess ankle area, the rear side of your foot. You can position it against the high back to get a more or a faster sense of control to the board, which makes me think that the bindings really just clamp your foot down. They don't counter the sliding factor. And ooh, I see a problem with my design. So the reason why that is that why snowboards don't just have like a thing where you set your foot into it is that they're meant for like many sizes of feet. So the snowboard bindings could probably, you know, work with maybe 3 to 4 sizes of feet. I'm guessing. 2 to 3 size. 2 to 3, 3 to 4 sizes of feet. So it allows flexibility in the purchasing process that you can buy and sell it for many different types of people. It's very all encompassing. So I guess my intention then would be kind of with like the step-in bindings that have already started to exist. Let me I just want to wrap in Rear entry bindings or speed bindings. They have one strap across the ankle and toes. Unlockable high backs that allows your feet. Yeah, of course. Great for beginners. I have never used one. Oh, that. Okay, so it drops down. Okay. That's interesting. I don't need to know that. Maybe it's good to look at history. Okay. Maybe that's why I tried snowboarding once and it sucked. That was how I looked. Apparently I was too wide. So the people who set me up, they set me up to fail. Snowboard with strap and bindings. Board construction, boots, step in. Oh, whoa. So those don't, I'm gonna make this bigger. These don't have anything. They are step in. Is this what step in? I thought step in binding still had stuff. So it has this that connects it down there, and that keeps your foot in place. I gotta look at step in bindings now. See, step on bindings still seem like they have something. Maybe that was just like an early generation of step in. Maybe these are also speed entry. Research. Why this seems, the process that I'm taking is, might seem like, oh well, you know, I should have researched a lot more beforehand, and I'm just, you know, realizing that the product that I'm making doesn't really need to be able to exist. But generally, you know, you come up with that idea and it's like, okay, this sounds like a cool idea that could exist. Let's look into it a little bit. And then let's do some research, and then look into a little bit and do some research, and like kind of work side by side like that. And then sometimes you just realize that like, it's not good enough. Like the reason to want to have this over something else is not really it could be a marketable reason, like, you know, it could be just enough to make people want to buy it. But like personally, if you're gonna, I don't know, there's some things that are just too like over engineered, I guess, to warrant making it. There's so many products that I see that are like, look at this new and improved idea about how to do this in the world, and it's so new and so awesome and amazing in every single way. And it turns out that it just makes one thing better while making 10 other things worse. Like you can't have kind of like with, I remember I was researching why the prices on in Uber were increasing, is that Uber, the company, has been selling their, you know, service for less than what it's worth, and they've been running their company at a loss for a couple of years, for many, I think since the beginning at least. Don't quote me on that, but they've been running their company at a loss. So the reason why the prices are increasing, not because of the pandemic, not because, you know, they don't have enough drivers, which is actually true. That's the those promotional, I forget what they're called, and I even work for them. Can't think of it. Anyways, it's not because of any of that that the prices are increasing. The prices are increasing because they need to start making money as a company. Where's I going with this? Oh, you know, one of the articles was looking at this and saying that, like, you know, the faded idea of a ride-sharing company that was cheap enough for the middle class to use is actually just a fleeting idea. It's not realistic. Is that oftentimes when we try to find something that like is new and it uses new materials and it doesn't use any sort of plastic, and it's nice and fresh and clean, and it's low price, none of that ever exists. You can't have something that is you know, any of that. You can't have something that is not made out of plastic but lasts a long time. You can't have something not made out of recyclable materials, made out of biodegradable materials that last a long time. That's kind of like you can coat it, but then the coating is not biodegradable technically, so you're lying. Um, you can't have something that's extremely strong and inexpensive. Usually you have to cut corners in certain ways, and it's not as strong as it could be. Like there's a lot of these things that people just want to make things the best and amazing thing while making it cheap and conforming to all and every single customer. It's like people want specific things, and there's all this. So like looking through kind of all this stuff in researching, and I could come to the very conclusion that a magnetic binding attachment has too many flaws on one side to counteract the cool nature of a like something that you could just throw on. So I guess now I'm gonna write some things down that you can't see, at least not right now. So the I guess the reason for this is being able to, I know, get a running start on the hill. That's something that you can't really do with the snowboard at all. Easy ingress and egress, which means like just pop it off, walk somewhere, and then just pop it right back on. I guess futuristic look. That's kind of what the step-in bindings achieve. Kind of what step-in achieve. Minimal parts and connection points. That is kind of something that could help keep costs down, is if you don't have a bunch of little connections and little like parts and everything that kind of fits together. I don't know if you've known about Tesla or anything, like the reason why they're focusing on their manufacturing right now. I think they created a part for one of their cars that used to be like 10 parts, and now after careful reconsideration they've made it all into one part, because one part, even though it might be bigger than 20 parts, takes less individual tooling parts. Like you in order to make a cast of something, you need to have basically the opposite on two parts squished together, put the material in, and then come apart. So those little things that hold everything together need to be, I guess, tooled is what they're referred to as. So every single part that exists needs to have its own tooling and process for that, which is expensive and takes time and energy to create and use. If you have one thing that makes the entire thing, just because there's less parts that need to be made in order to make the parts, it costs less. So if I can try to make this out of as minimal as parts as possible, that'll just help with cost. So now I'm just kind of thinking about, so these I think I just have to theorize on this because I don't know if it's true or not. So my idea is that the reason why, what are they called? The reason why these step-in bindings have high back plates is to provide, I guess, more security. So my theory with, well, I'm not gonna have enough time to do any storyboarding. My theory with change. Uh, yeah, I'm not gonna do any storyboarding today because I think this is just like, oh, you saw my underwear. um, I'm not gonna do any storyboarding today because this has just like captured all of my energy right now, which is fine. It works. I like it. It's something that tickles the fun parts of my brain. I think most anything does that these days. But so my theory with traditional bindings and why the high back plate exists is because the bindings are only good at clamping down the shoe, like in a top down, in a vertical format. They do kind of come at an angle, but they're mostly, I guess they come at an angle a little bit, and then this like kind of curved part, it backs at least the lower part of the foot. But the bindings are only really good for kind of pushing down, and you would need the high back plate in order to move the board because the bindings don't really do well with lateral movement. Now that I'm thinking about it, because those bindings do kind of come at an angle, that could secure the foot a little bit better. More so than I'm thinking. Maybe that the high back plate is actually used for when you tilt. I'm putting my feet out in front of me under the desk. When you tilt your foot back to get that heel edge, well, you'd be using your knees, I guess, as well as your ankle, and it would the high back plate would essentially immobilize your ankle so that you're mostly just using the joint of your knees to push out in front of you to get that heel edge to contact. So yeah, I think it could be just like an ankle immobilizer pretty much. Something that you can also lean on to give you safety. It was said in one of the other articles that freestyle snowboarders don't use a high back plate. They use something shorter, a shorter high back plate, short back plate. I think that's what it's called. What is it? Yeah, short high back or a tall high back. Why don't you just call it a short back or a high back instead of, I don't know, being a doofus? I want to look at these. Those are clicker, but so something that's interesting that I'm seeing with a lot of these bindings is that these are step-on bindings, and you don't see anything on the foot that's really present. But this one, there's like a little mechanism. I want to know what the difference is between those. Okay, so I'm looking around my camera again. Oh, so it connects basically on the side of the foot and then at the upper area in the back. That's a pretty genius connection, I do have to say. So, what would make... Why don't you just make the boot... how do I... Why don't you just incorporate the high back plate with the boot? So one of the reasons why you might not incorporate the high back plate onto the boot is that it would make it harder walking. Like, have you ever seen skiers try to walk down stairs with their ski boots on, or ever tried to do it yourself? It sucks. You have like no mobility in your ankle at all, and if you do, you're wearing them wrong. But what I'm thinking, and I need to sketch out right now, is so the bottom area will have this kind of like curved wraparound thing that covers the heel. The boot itself will contain the lower part of the high back plate, so it'll be a low high back plate boot almost. But in doing so, when you step in and, you know, click this into place, you could potentially have another set of magnets back here. Or maybe just like a way that, not even magnets, it would cut down on cost. It would just be like kind of like a, like, you know, a recessed area on the boot would just kind of snap into place. And it would make this kind of upper area like a high back part, so that when you're outside of the binding, that lower portion of the boot that would have that mechanical like ejection thing that you stomp down on your heel and it would eject matter, anything that's stuck onto the bottom of the boot to make the connection better. So it would have that on the bottom and that in the middle. So your top part would be a little bit more flexible. I gotta look at boots now. Swiftback. Okay, snowboard boots. Boots. Yes. Okay. So those are pretty, they probably flex a little bit. Not a whole lot though. But they do. Do they flex when you're, is it a thing that you want to keep the flex when you're, you probably want it to flex like at least to a decent degree. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything keeping the ankle from moving forward. Like, sure, you've got this reinforced, but like this is not reinforced and that could just bend forward. From a lot of the stance and the way that the materials are created, you kind of want it to bend a little bit. So I can't have it secure. Okay. So I can't have something that secures to this back area. So now I'm just coming to the point that like I might want to it's constantly being like the concept is being rethought a couple of times. So I was talking with I had a job interview with some company, and the hiring manager, which was the lead industrial designer, was asking me some questions and such. And he was talking like, what is your, like, I think it was something along the lines of like, what is the part of the process that you are not the greatest in? And mine, being the sly dog that I was, even though I suck at sketching, what's worse is telling people the process of where I started to where I ended up. Because usually what it is, it's I started with this idea and I got to this, but in the middle is just kind of like a blur, because I don't really rely on my sketching skills, as you could probably figure out. Right now I'm looking at a browser and not trying to sketch things out. I don't, which is probably why I don't, probably part of why I don't do enough sketching to get better at sketching, is because I don't rely on my, whatever. I'll kind of look at something in my head, think about it, apply it to, you know, whatever I'm looking at, understand why certain things are the way that they are, and then modify it in my brain. So I have a constant working model that I'm looking at, but I never have it on paper. So like, I can't like go to someone, or it's hard to like make a presentation of like, look at the evolution of all these sketches that made it into what it currently is today. Look at all these iterations. It's like all the iteration goes on in my head. I don't write things down. I write things down when I get stuck, which can happen. Happens here and there, but like, it's probably a bad thing. Probably a bad thing that I don't write down enough. God, I was gonna do so much today. All right. So where I'm at right now is that the high back is actually something that is needed. because you can't. This makes things so much more difficult. You need to be able to flex your foot forward. Like if this is the, your leg to your ankle here, and then my wrist out here is your toes. You need to be able to flex the foot forward when you're snowboarding, but you also need to have something that's very rigid on the back so you can kick out the heel side. Which makes this very difficult, because if you want to be able to just kind of throw the snowboard on, the high back gets in the way like 10 times out of 10. No one's going to throw something from behind them. It's a very awkward position to be in. If you're going to throw something down in front of you, you're going to throw it in front of you. So the high back gets in the way. So now I have to think of, I'm still probably going to make, I keep pointing, this more of like a cup, more of a fully protected area. So it'll come up a little bit. It'll kind of get in the way just a little bit. I could maybe bow it out so it's at an angle instead of straight up. So this tail out here is at an angle a little bit, so it'll funnel your foot into the connection point. But I still need to solve the issue of the high back, because you need something. Oh. The only thing that I can think of right now is like having a mechanism, which again is going to cost more money, that when you put your foot into the connection point, a high back slides up. But that could make it really bulky and like weight it differently, weight it wrong. It could be weighted too far on the heel side, so pushing down on the toe side makes it difficult. This is difficult. All right, I guess. So now that I figured out what a high back is, do I remember how to do this? I do. All right. Now that I guess I know what a high back does, I'll just say fuck it. Start sketching. I need to kind of figure out what the lower portion of my boot looks like anyways before I kind of head on. Actually, I'm just gonna do the lower portion of this boot. And I think I'm actually gonna draw that high back section just kind of detached up higher, so that I can kind of see how they looked separated, so that maybe I can try to figure out a way to. Because the only thing that I'm thinking of is I'll incorporate it into the boot. It'll be like a firm construction on that side. But if you're leaning back and forth, it could not connect right every single time. So that's something I just have to figure out, I guess. All right, where am I? I'm right here. There's my reasons. So this is like essentially what I want to make this for. You can get a running start, you can get in and out easy. What target user is like medium skilled? Some like, yeah, like 18 plus, I'd say. Kind of maybe like 25-year-olds plus, because I feel like 18-year-olds, they're wanting to break free from the world and do whatever. They have all this freedom to do all this stuff now, and they choose very like explicit themes. They just kind of tend. My idea is that, especially snowboarders, they're more of the rugged type in the world, And if you're 18 and you're a rugged type person, the certain themes that you would choose are like cool and awesome and amazing. Whereas the styling that I'm going for this is more of like a minimalist styling. So like that can really only be appreciated, I feel like, by 25 plus. You know, I'm not even 25, maybe, and well, my my mental age is a little off from my timed age. So medium skilled, because you need to know how to snowboard if you're going to throw your snowboard onto your feet. I feel like that's a general sense of the word. Someone who, like, I guess, futuristic. Appreciates minimalism. Anywho. Okay, I need to figure out the bounds of my camera. Hold on a moment. Oh god. Screwed up something. So many things on my desktop getting in the way. Okay, so that's there. Okay. Oh. All right. I should just always have it on here. All right, I need my straight edge so that I can tell. I think it's kind of it. You know what? I'm gonna make this simpler on myself. Camera activate. I'm just gonna use this to figure out that. Okay. Look at that. It's a beaut. Yeah, so it's at a flatter angle. All right. Music. Hold on. Gonna put some purdy, I think, music on, some pianist. Yes, I said that. All right. Are you digging with me? I hope you can hear that because it's not showing up on my levels, and that's frustrating. Let me just fiddle with something for a second. Properties. That's not right. Oh, because it's... Is that right? Properties. Well, hopefully it works. Because I'm listening to some chill-ish piano music. I don't know, it's kind of creepy right now. Headphones? Oh. I see. Okay. Well, that kind of makes sense, I guess. Wait. Okay, I'm just trying to, because there's a mic on this. Trying to make sure that you're not just listening to the ambient sound. Yeah. All right. My voice also just got kind of gravy and I definitely don't need to drink some water and don't have any nearby. I'm just gonna live with it. Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna do this lower portion. I'm not the greatest at snowboard bindings just yet, but you know, I'm working on it. I think I want that. So this is the upper section. Kind of dips down just a little bit. I didn't do a warm-up today, so I'll see how I sketch. Maybe I don't need to do that anymore. Maybe I do. Maybe I do it every like beginning of the week. Who frickin' knows? I think I want the edge of that to be here. And this go up to maybe like about I want that point to be a lot more kind of up and down, kind of like that. Okay, I think that's the right height. And kind of just recedes like that. And then the lower point, kind of like right about here. That's a little too, it might be a little too long. I'm kind of looking at it. I think it is. I might just have to go from here. No, that's too short. Look at that. Too long, too short. That looks a little better, I think. Misa thinks. That is faint as fuck. Alright, so it looks like there's like a wooden core almost. Shada. So I have to essentially draw this without the bindings there to kind of get a sense of what it looks like. Should have chosen to draw step and bindings. Step what? Step what? Step what bindings? Step cis bindings. Anyways. Okay, I guess I could just guess. With my current trajectory. Yeah. That looks pretty decent. I'm not really going off of the perspective of the drawing anymore, but that's pretty decent for, I guess, just getting a general sense of what this looks like. Too steep. That is also oddly not right. I think. That's alright, I guess, for the binding. I guess I am just using this as a reference because it's not really accurate. No, that makes it look like it's pushed in. That's not great. Okay. Maybe I'll do like a little cut out here. Okay. Granted, yes, it's not. I will darken all the lines that I have so far. Kind of just as a general sense of this is not an accurate portrayal, considering I'm just also missing the high back of the bindings. I'm just kind of trying to get an understanding of where everything fits so that I can try to make my own. And what I think I'm going to actually do is I'm going to guessing that it just kind of comes out over here. I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip the page over and just kind of sketch on top of this to see if I can make something that's a little bit better. I needed to not do that line so solidly because I forgot I needed to add an edge to it. That works. Okay. My lines are pretty good for not having done any warm-up. Okay, I guess that's what the lower portion kind of looks like. And then I need my little thingy. My thingy. Kind of. That's the back, that's the side. So the other side must be... You can't see, because I am still using a light pencil, because I am unsure of what I am doing right now. So I kind of drew it out of frame accidentally, but this is kind of generally what that high back would look like. Just kind of quickly sketching it. So I need to figure out how to also So the boot itself will kind of interact right here. So I guess my idea would be to funnel the boot in off of like a curved angled back that's not really the high back. Something that is just kind of puts the when you're throwing it onto your feet from the front, it doesn't get in the way, and it'll almost kind of, if it does a little bit, it'll kind of funnel it your feet down. I think also, so bindings kind of conform. Let me hold on. Yeah. That is wood. Let me just kind of look at these. How do I size these? These are mediums. Step on bindings. You want a little bit of flex to things, is what it seems, but not too much. Science of snowboards, man. Buying guide. Size chart, there we go. So it'll fit, I'm just looking at men's right now. It'll fit on the larger sizes about 2 sizes of shoes. So, I think the way that mine's going is I can only size 1 to 1. So I can only have 1 size to 1 size. Maybe like 1 to 1.5 sizes. So, because the way that I'm thinking of is I kind of want to inset this, and I want to kind of have the board kind of be up here, and it's this area here is kind of set in, so that your foot would sink into place. So I have to, based off of my design, based off of the foot design, where you kind of like hammer your heel into the snow to eject any debris that's on it. I have to have a heel cup, because if anything hits your heel mid-ride, you're gonna pop off your board, and that's not a fun thing. So I have to have a heel cup, which is a lot different. Or I could just something that's really kind of like, hold on, I need to do one thing first. Well, all right. Never mind. So, hold on. Let me. Stop the music. All right. This is important. So, what I've been thinking or theorizing so far is that with the magnetic connection, things are going to get stuck in it, especially if this is an inset connection. So things are going to get, if it's magnetic, things are going to get stuck to it, and ice and snow are going to get kind of put into this area. And the same is going to be for the boots, because you're literally walking on magnets. It's not going to be good. Now I gotta go back to my browser. Oh god. Is there a way? Oh shit, hold on. Oh god. Okay. Is there a way to disconnect a magnet? it would not a cathode. It would be a one of those solenoid. Makes magnet. I don't know. I'm thinking. Magnet wire DIY. How to so an electromagnet. Can you turn off an electromagnet? That's what I'm trying to wonder. Magnetic field can be removed from magnet by applying a reverse magnetic field to the magnet. An alternate current through an alternating current through a component of the magnet. So it is possible. How expensive though? Because what I'm thinking is when you use your heel to eject debris from the bottom of the shoe, it would basically be turning. Well, hold on. So in order to turn a magnet off, you have to put a different electromagnetic field into the magnetic field, and a reverse magnetic field into the magnet. So in order to turn off, redirect the magnetic flux line to reduce the field strength away from the magnet. Put a bar of iron across two poles of a horseshoe magnet. Demagnetization process includes heating past the Curie point. Oh. Damn it. This is heavy shit. Solenoid make magnet. Because one of the things that I was thinking of is, so the boots have to be magnetic, and oh shit, I don't. It's just simple magnet theory. You can just make the board magnetic and have metal in the shoes. Duh. Why didn't I think of that? So the only thing that the so I'm gonna just only board magnetic. Duh. Okay. So the shoes will still have a magnetic plate. And I want to be able to clear the plate. So no matter what it is, whether it's something that slides across the metal portion, or something that can like spring load the plate to like shoot off anything that's around it. Also, if it's gonna be inset, then no, not necessarily. There has to be a cleaning method for the bottom of the shoe, maybe. Definitely for the inset, there has to be something that pops up, and that's gonna be a different contraption. I just have to make sure that the connection point is secure, is definitely secure. So maybe what I could do, if this whole thing is inset, only the magnetic parts are sticking up, and then in the boot, the metal portions are pushed into the boot, so that when the two parts come together, the connection points are actually partially inside the boot, so that even so when you're connected, you have more stability. There's no possibility of sliding around. Okay. Um. Hmm. I'm just trying to think that, like, maybe if there's a way to, if it's a spring loaded thing where the um tamping down on the heel of the boot kind of ejects something that's spring loaded, to when you connect to the board, the spring is almost pushed out a little bit or condensed in some way that uh mechanically deactivates the button. So the button on the rear becomes pushed in when you connect with the board, and that's just something that would automatically happen. So then I wouldn't have to have that rear plate. That would be kind of annoying. So then if I could do that, I would probably just have something that kind of juts out. Just kind of low in profile. That kind of comes out and goes around, and it would be probably like a ring. Um, yeah, I really have to look into like how I'm gonna deal with the magnet and how it's gonna connect to the board. I think that's the first thing that I have to really think about, is how are they gonna connect to each other? Because that determines how am I gonna clean the surface in order to ensure that the connection is strong every time. And this is kind of the issue of, like, this is something that's kind of cool, an idea that's kind of cool, but it takes a shit ton of thought, because you gotta have a secure, reliable connection point. Anyways, I did a sketch on this. I thought about it. So what do I need to know? Can you? Oh, you can't see that. Oh, fucker, dicker, dick, dang, diddly. Okay. As you can see, I'm struggling a little bit, but so I need to figure out how the shoe connects. Because that in turn figures out how the faces are cleaned. Which then in turn figures out how to activate the cleaning. Which then in turn figures out the general form. And this is where I differ from most industrial designers. I don't. Just one little blurb about schooling in industrial design. It might be because I kind of grew up with the general sense that I need to figure out how to do these things. I need to figure out how to do all the parts so that I can make the product. Industrial designers are really all about form. They're about, what does it look like? How does it look like? How does it function with the user? Because, well, they talk about how does it function with the user, but that kind of goes into, like, how does it work? Which is a little more of the engineering side. And I kind of lean a little harder into the engineering side of, like, because this is like a very complex thing that's going to exist, that maybe hopefully will exist in the future. this rear portion and this area right here, this area pretty much will stay the same, maybe. This area is mostly for stylizing. This has an innate function to it, a very specific function to it, that is corresponded to how the cleaning works, which then is corresponded to how the shoe connects, how the shoe connects is going to determine part of its form. That's how I think, at least, is that like the function is going to relate to the form to a pretty decent degree. It'll give you your own constraints. So most of the time when they're teaching us in industrial design, it's like, I need to focus more on the form and how it's going to look instead of how it's going to function. But I really do think that the function relates to how it's going to look in a lot of cases. And it's hard for me to just go like, look like this. Because it won't. You have to relate the two. They have to work together. It's probably why I'm not getting a job, is because I don't work like other industrial designers. I don't look at the form and be like, if we take this this idea of how this could look versus how this interacts with that, and we gotta look at the brand and the branding and the brand design and what makes this new, or is it new to the world, is it new to concept, I take all those into consideration, but then I also take into consideration, how does it function? The function influences the form, in my opinion. That's my design style, is more of an engineering design style. So I need to learn the mechanics of how this is going to work, because it uses magnets and electromagnetic fields and all that fun stuff that I don't really know how it works. I need to research that, which I might do in the future. I might do on one of the streams. I might research with you guys how do electromagnets work, so then I can figure out how to clean them, how to activate the cleaning, how the shoe connects, so that I can figure out what the shoe looks like, and figure out what the binding looks like. I might try to inspire my industrial designer degree and just do some random forms in the meantime. Maybe do what are they called when they make cars but they're not real cars? Maybe do some before researching. See, the idea behind doing some concept first is that you figure out like the general idea of how you want it to look, and then apply the engineering side of it and see which concepts could work. And then if none of them work, you go back to the drawing board. It's like, well, why don't you figure out my sense of how to do things is, why don't you figure out how it works first, so then you can apply the form to it. Why don't you have the constraints before you and then apply the form to it, so that you get, it's just simpler in my mind. It's just faster. Why would you do 20 forms that don't actually end up fitting simply because you don't have the correct constraints? I don't know. I butted heads with a lot of my industrial design teachers. I probably should have been in the design engineering field if I had only known that fucking existed. It's like only like 3 colleges have it, and it's like, why? It's how I function. Whatever. But this was a pleasure to do some stuff on here. Hey, I got further than I thought I was yesterday. I mean, I got further than this, and this was like 3 days ago or something like that. No, progression's always the key. Because I'll be damned if I can make something that if I could make something like this, if I could produce this. First off, I'd start snowboarding and I'd do a bunch of it. Second off, it'd be so cool. I would totally just go on the slopes and be like, this is cool, isn't it? And like, just like, it's so cool. If I produced a product, I do that just all the time. I wouldn't have a personality anymore. I'd be like, oh, look at this cool product that I made. It's awesome and it works. Because all the shit that I make these days is wobbly. All right. Not going to be here tomorrow because I have a packed day tomorrow of tricking and mildly injuring myself. It's called doing a workout, right? Saturday. I hope to God I wake up early. Early enough. But that's all right for right now.